So we'll go ahead and start with my man, the dude, Kenny Golladay. He didn't really have a 2020 season. He was banged up all year, played a few games, was still looked really good in those games. But I speculate that he sat out intentionally because he knew the Lions weren't going anywhere. He was like, what's the point? My stock can only go down because if I play well, then I'm just proving what I've been doing the past couple of years. If I play badly or get injured again, it hurts my contract next year. So I think Kenny Golladay purposely sat out, just said he wasn't good to go all year. And it's probably a smart move. So, and I don't think he's going back to the Lions after Stafford leaving. They could franchise tag him, but I'll go ahead and start with you, Gabe. Where do you see Kenny Golladay ending up this offseason?
Oh, man. Well, that's a good question. To be quite honest with you, the first thing I really did was I looked at teams that clearly need help at the wide receiver position. And a few that came to mind right off the bat were the Ravens, both teams in New York, the Jets and the Giants. I believe the Raiders could upgrade a few players, especially with Tyrell Williams, not relevant last year, and he's gone officially now. And also the Philadelphia Eagles. With that being said, yeah, Detroit's in a full rebuild, I believe, dishing out Stafford, bringing in Goff. I think there's a lot of moving parts here. New head coach. I don't think they're willing to franchise Kenny Golladay. I mean, the guy only played him 5 games last season. So it's highly unlikely that he sticks around in Detroit. With that being said, I don't know. Probably somewhere like New York. I could see him going. Any one of those two teams I might need it. But the only thing is, a lot of these names that we're going to talk about, they probably want to go to contenders. Those teams that I just mentioned, other than the Ravens, they're not contenders. So they're either going to be looking for money or they're going to be looking to playing for a contender.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, these guys, do they want to sign with the Jets and just get a max contract? They don't even care.
I mean, look at Deshaun Watson. We could see the ultimate pairing. That's where his
do they want to go and win a championship? I think today's culture with sports, like, most athletes want to win championships. And that's where, if they can direct where they go, I think that's kind of where they're going to be leaning towards. But every guy's going to be different, right? Yeah. So what was your final team, or what did you think?
Man, to be honest, I'm going to hand it off to Joe because, like I said, it's so up in the air. I could go with either of those teams in New York. I mean, imagine a Deshaun Watson trade and then a Kenny Golladay signing for the New York Jets. That's just the absolute rebuild that you.
I thought of that too. I think that would be a good move if that ends up happening.
We'll know a lot more as we get closer.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be these teams with cap space only. To be honest, it could be a trade scenario. So if you think there's a team not on this list, like the Raiders, who can maneuver a trade, then that could work too.
Yeah, and also teams can always, like Gabe said, the Raiders went out and waived Tyrell Williams. We're going to start to see a lot of that.
Yeah, that's true.
Guys are going to start to get waived. I don't know how
sign-in trades work in the NFL. I don't know if that's a thing or not. Or can they franchise tag somebody and then trade them?
Yeah, I think that's how it works. I think like you tag them and then you can get something weird, where teams end up getting a pick or something out of it. It's usually not player for player. It's like pick for player, but
yeah. All right, Joe. Well, where do you see, and since we're a fantasy show, I kind of want to focus on like what's the best ideal fantasy situation for these players. So for Kenny Golladay, what do you see that as?
So ideally, what I want to see, kind of my dark horse, where I think this could happen, maybe unlikely, but I think that Bill Belichick is going to be kind of upset this year. And I think he wants to get back to the playoffs and prove that he can do it without Brady. Now, Cam Newton wasn't the fit, right? My thinking is that they try to find a way to get a quarterback. Maybe that's Jimmy Garoppolo. We'll see who it is, but they're going to get a quarterback. And I could see Golladay following Patricia over to the Patriots and being that star wide receiver, because that's really what they're missing over there in New England. Their defense was pretty decent. They have a couple running backs that can do stuff. They need a quarterback and a wide receiver. They need their Brady and Moss or whoever, whatever you want to say. And obviously Jimmy and Golladay aren't Brady and Moss, but under Belichick, they can be successful pairing. But at the end of the day, guys, I'm going to go with the safe pick. I think the Lions are going to franchise tag him. I don't think they're going to let him walk out of the door for free. I don't, maybe they end up, like you said, tagging him and then trading him to somewhere and getting some value. But Kenny Golladay is a stud, and he's not that old. And it's almost like what we saw the Bengals do with AJ Green, but much younger. You know, they would not let AJ Green go.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. The guy said he wanted out. He wanted to go play for a contender. He wanted this. No. We're not trading you unless we get a first round pick. We're not trading
That's
you.
a fair point. Like, why let a star wide receiver go? Just lose him for nothing.
And listen, they don't have Stafford, but Golladay is a nice piece to have around with Goff.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's not like they got a complete bum at quarterback.
Yeah, so I'm going to say that they're going to go ahead and franchise tag him. We'll see him in the Lions uniform next year. And I think he'll play, and he's going to surprise a lot of people. He'll probably end up falling. People are going to think, oh, no Stafford, and he missed all last season. And I think he's going to end up surprising people and doing this year what we thought he was going to do last year.
Yeah, that's probably a safe bet. And I will say, honestly, for most of these, other than Juju and Allen Robinson, I think most of these guys are going to go back to the teams they were already on, to be honest, because it's just sometimes it's easier. They want to stay there. They can sign them even if they're over the cap. They can still re-sign their own guys, things like that. So, Justin, what about you, man? Do you see a different scenario for Golladay?
I do. If they franchise tag him, I don't think he wants to stay there, but that's an option. But I see him going to the Jets. The reason I say that is because we know the Jets as pretty much the bottom feeders of the league. Golladay had a bad year, couldn't stay healthy, didn't get the receptions, the touchdowns he normally does. So he wants to get paid. He's in the prime of his career, basically. And this is where it goes back to Gabe. I want to win a title. Yeah, but you have your agent saying, "Let's get paid," and in a couple of years,
this is his one big contract.
That's how it is. And the NFL, your career is a little shorter than the NBA. So I think the Jets are going to pay up to get this guy because the market's a little bit different for him. If he played a full year and he did the normal Kenny G thing, then we're talking a different game. But I think they can get him a little cheaper, but still pricey. That's why. Yeah. But again, I'm also leaning towards he's going to get franchise tag and unfortunately stay there, which will still be a good fantasy situation, like you said, with Goff and Golladay. But
their defense is bad too, so they're just going to be shootouts and stuff.
Stay
from behind.
And Goff's trying to prove himself, so
yeah. I mean, honestly, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, Goff sucks." I don't think that's the case. I don't think that was terrible for 2 first-round picks and Jared Goff.
Yeah. They got a steal.
I know.
They got Rams got screwed.
They definitely did. Now, look, I would love – I mean, actually, he wouldn't be a good fit for my 49ers, but I still would love to see Kenny Golladay in a 49ers jersey. Not going to happen, though. But, I think the most likely scenario is what Justin's saying with the Jets because they're going to be able to pay him more. And then if you bring in Kenny Golladay to the Jets, that looks way more appealing to a potential quarterback in the future. Somebody like Deshaun Watson, waiving the trade clause, things like that.